So Terrence Crawford defeats Ricky Burns with a unanimous 12-round decision to become the new WBO lightweight champion of the world. It was a fairly one-sided fight, to be fair. Terrence Crawford maybe lost 2 or 3 rounds early in the fight at the most to Ricky Burns, but from about the 4th round, at least 4th or 5th round, Terrence Crawford pretty much took over. He was far too quick for Ricky Burns. His arms were too long. He was dominating from the outside, dominating from the inside, beating Ricky Burns in every single department. There was very little Ricky Burns could do. Ricky Burns is a tough guy, tried to hang in there, tried to get his jab working, but once Terrence Crawford found his rhythm, once he found his range, once he realized what he was working with in Ricky Burns, once he had the measure of him, there was only ever going to be one winner. Ricky Burns didn't have the power to keep him off, didn't have the power to get his respect. Even when Ricky Burns did land a good shot, Crawford came back with much better, bullied Ricky Burns, shoved him around the ring. Ricky didn't want to engage. He was holding most of the time when Terrence Crawford was letting his hands go. So it was a fairly one-sided fight, to be honest with you. Maybe those Ricky Burns fans who were seeing the fight with wishful, almost with wishful thinking, maybe they would have given Ricky Burns a few more rounds and had it closer. But I thought it was not quite a shutout for Terrence Crawford, but it was a very, very dominant display, and there was just no doubt in my mind who'd won the fight. But again, hats off to Ricky Burns. He's a tough guy, but Terrence Crawford is now the new WBO lightweight world champion. Jim Watt, the commentator on Sky in the UK, he kept on saying that this was not the real Ricky Burns, that there was something wrong with Ricky Burns' jaw. It'd be interesting to see if Ricky Burns says something like that after the fight, but the impression I got was just Terrence Crawford was just way too good for him. I didn't see a Ricky Burns that was much different than the previous Ricky. I mean, I'm not saying that the kind of injury which he suffered, the broken jaw, wouldn't have had any effect on him. Maybe psychologically he didn't want to get hit on that jaw because it was smashed to pieces. He had a titanium plate put in his jaw after the Beltran fight. So, I'm not completely discounting the idea that it could have affected his performance, but I think even if he didn't have that jaw injury, I think Terrence Crawford would have still beat him, because in every single department he was better than Ricky Burns. He was better at long range, he was better at close range, he seemed to be the physically stronger guy, he was throwing the better body shots, he had better variety, he was switching from southpaw to orthodox, had better footwork, he was just better all round. So it is what it is. Big ups to Terrence Crawford, he's the new WBO lightweight champion. There's a couple guys now at lightweight. You got Richard Abril down there at lightweight, a few other guys. So let me know how you think Terrence Crawford would do at lightweight. Do you think he's got a bright future ahead of him? I believe he's a top ranked fighter, correct me if I'm wrong. So who can you see him fighting down there at 135 pounds? Who would you like to see him in with next? And as for Ricky Burns, what do you think he should do now? You think he should retire? There's possible rematches, possible rematch there with Kevin Mitchell, who's trying to come up in the world again. So Ricky Burns may still have some options, but in terms of world honors, he's probably done about as good as he's gonna do. So drop your comments below, let me know how you feel about the whole thing. This is Hatman, I'm out.